Hello friends, welcome to Stampin' Peace with Mary Knabe. I'm coming to you live from Columbus, Ohio on Tuesday, November 7th at 5:20. Kind of a crazy time, but I was scheduled for 5, but I had somebody picking something up from me, and I knew she was coming from a distance, so I didn't know how long it would take her. But she just picked up and all is good. So thank you for jumping on late with me. Oh, Claudia, thanks. Yes, I just needed a change. So I got my hair chopped. I didn't even do it today because we were busy down here in the studio running around and that sort of thing. But I'm enjoying the shorter hair, definitely. Today I am going to make 5 cards with you. These are the note cards with the coordinating envelopes. And for each of them, I'm going to be using our Simply Scored tool. I think this tool is one of the best, and it's one of my most used Stampin' Up! Tools. So let me flip my camera around and we'll get started. While I'm doing that, please share this live video and invite others to join us. You can even tag your friends in the comments, and that will give them a notice to come watch. Okay, I want to get this just right so that you'll be able to see everything. So let's talk for a moment about the Simply Scored tool. Mine is, I don't even know how old it is. It's old. But this is the basic thing. And I most often use it for scoring large quantities of card bases, but I want to show you a trick for this. So when I do this, we know that we can get 2 card bases out of one piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, correct? And half, I've got this in the vertical position, half of 8.5 is 4 1/4. You can see I've got that marked there. I have, my daughter helps me at times, and occasionally my sister does. So if they're helping me with the scoring, I usually just mark it with a Sharpie, and that helps them. So then I just score it right down the middle. And I will tell you too, when you score, drag your whole arm down. Hold it like you're going to write. Okay, do you see the angle I have it? Hold it like I'm going to write. And you want to drag your whole arm and hand down. That's going to be the easiest and quickest way. The other thing is, if you are doing it like this, it's harder to move, okay? You also have the potential of it jumping to the next groove over. So then what I would do is just take it and turn it and cut it in half. And of course, you can even do the other direction if you want those card bases that are 4 1/4 by 11. Here's my 11 inches. I now have it in the horizontal position or landscape position. And we know that 5 1/2 inches is half of 11. And then I would turn it and I would cut it. And here's my 4 1/4 by 11 card bases, okay? So that is what I most often use my Simply Scored tool. I will tell you, this is in the annual catalog, and I believe it's in the annual catalog. If not, it's definitely online, because I just checked a little bit ago, and it's $36, but you will have this forever. So it's a one-time deal. It's a one-time expense. And when you learn some new ways of using it, you'll end up using it a lot. Now, I will tell you, yours will come with some little plastic markers that you put on. Don't ask me where mine went after all these years. I think they got lost in the move somehow. But you can store them right in here in that little cubby. And it also comes with a stylus. Yes, mine is missing too after the 12 or 15 years that I've had this. I don't know. But I have an old one, and I just put some Velcro here to help it stay in place. The stylus you get with the Simply Score tool, it comes with that. It's made to fit right in here and secure, okay? But like I said, oops, I don't know what happened to mine. So I had an old one, and that's what I did. The other thing is I can also use my Take Your Pick tool, because one of the ends, one of the parts that you get when you purchase this Take Your Pick tool is the stylus. And just like any stylus that Stampin' Up! Has, and the one that comes with your Simply Scored board, there's a small ball and a larger ball, okay? This larger stylus is used for things that are rather, what do I want to say? Fragile. Maybe they're thinner and tear more easily. So like vellum, specialty papers, DSP, that sort of thing. This other one I use for scoring cardstock. And that's what I'll be scoring with you today. So the small tip I use for scoring cardstock and things like chipboard, things that are thicker, okay? Because this makes a deeper impression. So we need that for cardstock and thicker items. We don't want as deep an impression, and we don't want to risk tearing more fragile papers, thinner papers, DSP, vellum, things like that. So let me just stick this in. But I wanted to be sure and show you, but this is the one I have with my Simply Scored board all the time, and the one I use. So that's what I'm going to use today. Now, the first card, oh, and I should say also that I am using the note cards and envelopes, okay? So the finished size of these cards is 3.5 by 5 inches. They come in a package of 20, so 20 card bases, note card bases, and 20 envelopes. And it is a fabulous value. I think this is something that's often overlooked in terms of products. And I hate that because I think it's such a great value. And I just realized I didn't cut one of my strips here. So let me do that really fast. I just need a 3/4 inch strip of this. You'll also see me using a little bit of this Classic Christmas DSP. And everything I make, you can use any DSP. You can do this, these scoring techniques on any of your card bases. You'll find that what I'm showing you today is very versatile. I'm going to make thank you cards today. Why? Because right now, everybody's in a rush to do Christmas cards, right? Everybody's thinking, what am I making? What am I designing? How many do I have to make? Do I have all the products I need, right? Well, don't forget the thank you notes. And don't wait till later, after the holidays, to sit down and make your thank you notes, because you're going to be tired after the holidays, right? Take a little time for yourself. Have a breather. So that's what we're focusing on today. Obviously, I grew up with that mom that made you sit down and write thank you notes for, anything. Birthday presents, Christmas gifts from grandparents, first communion gifts, whatever it was, we sat and wrote thank you notes. And I just think it's a good thing to continue doing. Everybody likes knowing that they're appreciated. So let's talk about this. So the front of the note card is where there's a groove, okay? This is the front. The inside is where there's that little bump, the mountain, the raised area. I'm going to be putting this on the front of my card base. And I'm going to be doing some scoring along the top and the bottom. However, I want the scoring to be a bump here. I want to have the bumpy side, the raised side on the front. So what I'm going to do is flip this over and just mark where I'm going to put my strip on the front. This is a 3/4 inch strip of DSP, and I'm putting it 3/4 inch from the bottom of my card front. So I'm just going to mark right here. So that's to help me know where to start scoring. And as I do this, you'll see. I need to turn this a little bit. So I'm scoring right here. This is where my DSP is going to be. So I'm going to skip over one little notch, which is 1/8 of an inch on this scoreboard. One little notch, and I'm going to come all the way down. And when I'm using scoring lines as a feature of the card, I like to go over it twice. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to move over another notch, another 1/8 of an inch, and score that. And I'm going to do it one more time. Move over another notch, 1/8 of an inch, and score it all the way across. Okay? Lost my train of thought. Oh, keep in mind, you can do any width you want. If you wanted stripes all the way across your card front, you could do that at 1/2 inches. You could do it at 1/4 inch. You could do whatever you want, okay? Again, I'm paying attention to those little pencil marks I made because that's where my DSP is going to go on the front. So I'm going to go to that mark at the top, and I'm going to move over one notch or 1/8 of an inch, score all the way down, all the way across. Move over another 1/8 of an inch or one notch. And I'm going to do it a 3rd time on the top here. Now, keep in mind, you could also just do lines on the top, the bottom only, whatever you want. And I have to say that I'm showing this first card, and it was inspired by one of my team members, one of my Mary Stampers, named Rita Holmes. If you're near the Hamilton, Ohio area, look up Rita Holmes. She does an excellent job, just a great person. And I love seeing what she and other people do, whether they be demonstrators or customers or general crafters, because I either learn something new or I get inspired. So I happened to come across Rita's Facebook post showing a card similar to this. And later I thought, I haven't used the scoring tool, the Simply Score tool, board, Simply Score board, right? Where's Jenny? Am I getting that name right? Anyways, and I thought, I'm going to pull that out. Well, I have it out all the time, but I use it mainly for scoring card bases. But I'm going to pull it out today and show you different ways to use decorative scoring on your cards. So this is just one way. And then I want to add a greeting. So I'm going to add thank you. And this comes from the Go-To Greetings. Okay, I'm using this stamp today, and I'll also use this bigger one on a couple of the cards. So to make sure that I stamp straight, I always like to do a little practice on scrap paper. And what I try to do is look at the words, okay, and kind of imagine I'm putting those words on a straight line. Now that looks pretty straight. If, say for example, I did something like this, I would know that the next time I stamp, I need to bring that left side down a little bit. Okay, so that's why I use the scrap paper and take a practice before. Obviously, if you have photopolymer stamps you're using, that's not an issue, right? And ever if you do something like this and you mess up on the card base, you can stamp it on scrap paper and either punch or die cut something, maybe the oval punch, whatever, and put it over the top. That's an easy way to take care of that problem. Okay, so there's card number 1. Now keep in mind, I'll be giving away all of these note cards. So and at the end, there will be a total of 5. So I'm going to put that there for now. And bring my Simply Score board back in. And this time, we're going to create what I'll say is a little frame. So here's the front. And because I want the raised area to be on the front, I know I have to flip this over. So I've decided that I'm going to score at a 1/2 inch all the way around. Let me do it this way. A 1/2 inch all the way around. Now I'm going to stop at that middle score line because this is the front side of my card. This will be the back. Sometimes too, it's easier to measure over from the right edge, which is what I'm going to do now. And I'm going to do it again here. Here's the middle, 3.5. 1/2 inch over is 3 inches. Okay. So this is what it looks like from the front, but I want to jazz it up. Pam, did you send me your address? Okay. If you want to go to stampinpeace.com and fill out a contact form and make sure I have your complete address. Okay. Yes, you did by email. Okay, I'll double check then, Pam. All right, I'm going to do the same thing, go all the way around, but this time I'm moving in 1/8 of an inch. So this time I'm at 5/8 inch. And I want to do that all the way around. I'm just moving over 1 notch towards the inside of the card front. Okay, and I'm going to do it one more time over here. And then just to be sure I get those nice grooves on this side with the nice raised score lines on the front, I'm going to go over each of these one more time. And I think I need to do this yet. Okay, so here I took a plain note card. You're welcome, Pam. Here I took a plain note card and just added a decorative touch by embossing those lines. And this will be used then to kind of frame my, my sentiment. And once again, I'm going to take a practice. Now, you can see it's a little raised on the left. So I'm going to take another practice, putting the left down a little bit. That's very close. Again, it's harder with the red rubber stamps than the photopolymer, but that's not to say we can't do it, right? And I'm going to stamp right in the middle. Just like that. So now I've created my own unique stamp set. Jenny Graber, the stamp set is Go To Greetings. Go To Greetings. And I'm using the two of the thank yous. One of my favorite go-to sets. So there's that. Now, if you're not real confident in whether or not you can get that right in the center, here's something you can do. You can put it down in one of the corners, offset it. You could even put it in an upper corner, something maybe here or here. You offset it. So when you intentionally offset it, it still looks good. It looks magnificent. It looks planned, but it's going to look better than being just slightly off, you know. Maybe there's an inch over, you know, more space on one side than the other. All right, so there's my tip for that. Again, a very simple thank you card. And think about this, and I'm using Christmas colors. I'm doing my Christmas, making my Christmas thank yous. You can make it for anything, shower gifts, baby gifts, birthday gifts, thank you for doing a good job, whatever. And use the colors or the theme that would fit whatever you're making it for. Okay, so got that. And then, I don't know why I had to, oh, here. Okay, the next one is going to be similar. However, we're going to score a little bit differently. So here you can see I scored all the way across the front, right? I want to just score the frame. Just score the frame part, okay? So let me show you how to do that. Again, this is the front of my cardstock where I want the raised score lines to be. So I'm going to flip it over and work from the inside of my card base. And if you can see here, I just took like this chalk marker and I'm marking 1/2 inch. And the reason for that is I do have to kind of eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfect. You'll get close, trust me. But I'm going to eyeball coming across here and coming down here. And where I think those 2 points would intersect, I'm just going to push the ball into that groove right there. And then down here, I'm going to do the same thing. Now, it's a little harder because I can't see the 1/2, but I can count the grooves. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not pressing, but I'm going to go up and I'm going to make an indentation. I don't know if you can see that. Do you see how I made the little indentations? And so now I'm going to score at 1/2 inch between those 2 marks I just made. Now I'm going to do, oops, this way. I'm going to, no, that's not right. Oh, those were my 2 marks, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing this time. I'm going to turn it, and I know there, and I also know I need 1/2 inch here. So 1/2 inch from the center, right? This is 3.5. So I'm just gonna make that little dot at the 3 inch mark. That tells me how far I need to go. Always make sure your cardstock, your paper is pushed into the corner all the way. And I'm gonna estimate right about there, I think. So I'm going to go up to this 1/2 inch mark. And from that spot to the next spot. Okay. Now I want to do the same thing again over here. Now this mark happens to be at the 4 inches. Okay. I know I need to come across about in here is where I'm going to stop. So I just made a tiny indentation. Don't worry if it's not exact. Just make your indentation very, very light, okay? So start up here, because I'm 1/2 inch from the center now. and I'm going to score down to the 1/2 inch line. And then I'm going to connect these points. And again, I'm a 1/2 inch from the edge of my card base. Okay, so this is what I have now. I have this simple frame. And we could put a sentiment in there. You could do anything you want. You could actually put some DSP in the middle of that frame. But I'm going to go a step further. First of all, I'm going to go over these one more time. These note cards are made with the thick basic white cardstock. So I especially like to go over my score lines again when I know I'm got the thicker cardstock. So there's that, okay? Now I'm going to make it a little more decorative. And what I'm going to do is just go one notch over from where I was. And you can almost feel it. You can drag your stylus that little bit and pretty much feel the next groove. And I'm going to go down and just stop a little bit short. I'm going to do the same thing here, feeling that next groove. I think I got it. Yep. And go to that point. And then, you know what, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to work from this side because it's easier for me to see the measurements and work from this side than if I'm down here. Okay, because I'm working from the measurements at the top. So I'm going one groove. I want to go make this frame inside my first one. So going again, moving over one groove. And the easiest way to feel that is just drag the tip of your stylus just lightly, and you'll feel it where the next groove is, okay? And once again, I'm going to go over all of these score lines. I want those raised lines to be very prominent. And I'd say that looks pretty good. What do you think? Let me go over this one a little bit more. What do you think? Pretty cool, right? Simple, elegant, classic, classy, as Jenny said. And now I'm going to add a sentiment. And this time I'm going to use the same thank you, the large thank you from the Go-To Greeting stamp set, and I'm going to offset it. I'm going to put it in this corner right here. Pretty nice. I like this, plain and simple, very classic look to it. But if you wanted to add a little bit of embellishment, you could certainly do that as well. On these particular cards, I think the festive pearls would be beautiful, okay? So there is my third thank you card. And you can see these really are very quick to make. All right, so for the next one, I'm going to do the scoring first before I show you the card. And what I want to do is, I have to measure, remember where I started. Okay, I started 1/2 inch, and I'm going, this time I'm going all the way across the narrow side. And I'm going to come in 1/2 inch from here as well. Okay. And where, where I'm setting it doesn't matter a whole lot. All right. If you want to start yours at 3/4 inch over, you can certainly do that. When you see the finished card, you will see, you'll have a better understanding of where you might want to put some score lines. So I'm going to, now that I've scored 1/2 inch from either side, I'm going to score on the outside, one notch over on the outside. And then I'm going to score 1 notch over on the inside of those original score lines. And then I'm just going to go over all of these. A lot of times I like to turn my cardstock instead of working in here. It just gets a little crowded, I'll say. And I would say if you're trying this technique, just kind of experiment. You know, this is what it looks like when you're doing 1/8 of an inch, 1 notch over. Maybe experiment and see what it's like when you have 2 notches over, which would be 1/4 of an inch. All right, so now let's finish this card. This time I'm going to stamp with Shaded Spruce. Cherry Cobbler and Shaded Spruce are wonderful together, and they are 2 of the colors in the Joy of Christmas DSP. And once again, pull in that scrap paper, kind of do a practice run. Am I stamping straight? Oh, very nice. You know, you have to compliment yourself, right? So when you do a good job of something, I want you to say to yourself, good job, or that's awesome, or way to go. Because so often, what do? We put ourselves down. We criticize ourselves. And we don't need that negativity. So focus on the positive. So when you do something awesome, you stamp straight, or you learned a new technique, or you just made 5 cards to send, okay? Then go ahead and give yourself a little congratulations. Now, I'm having a hard time seeing this, so I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat. That's just easier for me to see rather than the white on white. And I'm going to do my best to stamp this straight and centered left to right. Pretty good. So now let's put our card together. This time I'm going to make a vertical card. Okay, here's my... And I cut a piece of the DSP that measures 5 inches by 3.5. 5 by 3.5. So it will completely cover the front of this note card. And to help me line up the edges, what I like to do is kind of start in one corner. You can kind of put your fingers there, hold it in place, and then I like to just put it against my flat work surface. Okay, now you can see all my edges are lined up really well. Then I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals. And I'm going to put this right in the center of my card front. And you can see, even though I'm using the Joy of Christmas DSP and that pretty shaded spruce, which I love if you're ever stamping like evergreen trees, something like that. I love that. I feel like it's a classic tree color, evergreen tree color. But you could use this for all kinds of things. You could pull a ribbon around and tie a bow here. I'm going to use some of the brushed metallic adhesive dots. And I'm going to use 1 large and 2 small in this brushed metal color. There's this rose gold and a true gold. Okay, and there's my card. Super simple, super easy. Okay, you could do something like this with your scraps. I know you all have scraps of white, right? Yes, Kathy, all of this will be posted on my blog in the next couple of days, and I'll have all the measurements there as well. Okay, that was the fourth card, and I have one more, which kind of, this is like the wow. Okay. And I'm going to first, I'm first going to do my scoring. Again, I will, when I put this on the blog, you can make these whatever you want them to be based on the size of your estimates or images, anything like that. You're welcome, Kathy. But I have this that measures 2 by 3.5 inches, and I want to just make an inside frame here, okay? Just make an inside frame. So I'm going to go in 1/4 inch. And because I'm doing an inside frame and I don't want my lines going all the way to the edges of the paper, I'm just going to kind of eyeball 1/4 inch in each direction. This would be, let's see, right here, about there. And then you can see again, I'm kind of eyeballing it. And you can see they're not real deep. Well, that one. So now I'm just going to do my scoring between all of the dots. So I'm scoring at 1/4 inch all the way around. If it's easier for you to see from the right side of the paper rather than in this little corner on the left side, go ahead and do that. So this measures 3.5 inches long, and I want to score at 1/4 inch, so I'm going 3 1/4. Same thing here. This is 2 inches wide, so I want to score at 1 3/4, so that I am 1/4 inch from that edge of the paper. And then here again. So now I have created this 1/4 inch frame all the way around. Okay, looks pretty cool, right? So let's put our card together. This is going to be a horizontal card. Again, I'm using some of the Joy of Christmas DSP, and I've cut it 5 by 3.5 inches. So it's the exact same size as the card front. So I'm just gonna line up my edges and press it into place. The next thing I'm going to do is add this, but before I do that, I'm going to put a little, oops, I cut my DSP a little too big. Let me correct that. I'm just going to add a little bit of DSP on the inside of that frame. Looks like I was about 1/4 inch off when I cut that. So I'm just going to put this right on the inside there, okay? You can see that's the back of one of my DSP sheets, actually the one I just used in the previous card. I'm going to center that inside that frame and press it down. And I'm going to put this in the center of my card front, and then we'll add a sentiment. Right there in the center. I always just kind of eyeball it. I think when you eyeball it, you get it pretty darn close. Okay. And if you look like at 2 corners, like I have the same amount of DSP showing at these 2 corners, right? So if I start there and press, then the rest just falls right into place where it should be. Okay, I have die cut some of these banners. This is from the Stylish Shapes Dies. Stylish Shapes Dies. A mouthful to say, but they are wonderful. I love using them. Okay. So let's see if I can get this straight again. Last card. Oh, good. I'm happy with that. And close that up. And then we're going to add this to our card front with some dimensionals. And then we'll finish it off with some of the gold brushed metallic dots. Raise that up a little bit. And I'm just going to, I think the big one, well, let's see. I think the big ones are a little large for this. Maybe not. But I prefer the small gold dots for this card. And it's sticking everywhere but where I want it to. It flipped over, so now I can't seem to grab it without it, there we go, without it sticking to me. So I'll put one on each end of the banner. I think it's time to add my putty refill. And voila, I'm finished. So what do you think? I think it was that maybe about 40 minutes? And I made 5 cards. Now what makes it super easy is that I did use the package of note cards and envelopes. So they're already cut for me. They're already scored down the middle. And you can find these in the annual catalog. Alrighty. So that made it quick and easy cards because I'm using these. So right off the bat. The other thing we focused on today was using our Simply Scored tool to make some decorative lines. Okay, we're using our score lines as decorations. Part of more of this is a card element, not just scoring it in half like we usually do, but using those score lines as an element of the card front. Okay, so we did stripes all the way across, put a strip of DSP. This is a great way to use up your leftovers, the scraps, right? And you can do this in any size. I could even make it wider and do the, still do those stripes above and below. Here we did a frame, but again, we took those scored lines to all of the edges. Here we made a frame, but we started on the inside, okay? Yes, great scrap buster. Oh, I like that term, scrap buster. I'll have to remember that, Kathy. But we started on the inside instead of taking our lines all the way to the edges. And here we did 3 score lines at the top and the bottom, or near the top and the bottom. Add an easy sentiment and few embellishments. Again, some DSP. We made a frame, added a coordinating DSP and a sentiment and some embellishments. So I'm going to give away each of these cards, okay? I will choose 5 winners. So you will each get one. What you get, you know, I stick them in the envelope and then I pull the names, and whatever name goes on is what you get, okay? But I think they're all beautiful. I think they're all gorgeous. I absolutely would use these for Christmas thank yous just as much as I would these ones that have the pretty papers on, okay? Kathy says it's hard to pick a favorite because she loves them all. I feel the same way. I like crisp, clean, classic, simple but elegant looks. But I also love DSP. You know that. All right. So the code word for today, it's actually 2 words, is, and Jenny, make sure I have this right. It's called Simply Scored, right? I feel like I should double check that. It's been that long. Well, anyways, we're just going to type Simply Score. Okay. Yes, thank you, Kathy. Simply Scored. I was hoping somebody would confirm that for me. Why do I have such a hard time remembering names? At least I remember my own, right? Okay, so type in the comments now, Simply Scored, if you entered into the drawing to receive one of these 5 cards. I will be posting this I think we just lost connection. Maybe not. I will be posting all of the information on these cards on my blog. Okay, so give me maybe probably to the end of the week to get them on stampinpeace.com, and the video will also go on my YouTube channel. But stampinpeace.com is where all the action happens. Everything that I talk about in a live, the measurements, everything is right there, okay? Kathy, are we back up? It looks like it's back up on my end. It went out for just a moment. All right, thanks for joining me. I appreciate you being so accommodating since I moved yesterday's Facebook Live to today, and then I had that delay when I was waiting for somebody to come to my house to do a pickup. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you again for another Facebook Live demonstration on Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a great night.